Okay, going live, going live. Well, it says we are live. There, are you happy now, Squib? We're live. So, welcome everybody to this week unloaded. So far tonight, we have with us G23. How are you tonight?
Good. How are you? Thanks for the invite.
Really frustrated right now, which I'm sure you probably got the idea during the pre-show. Um, next, we have Gun Loving Grandpa, aka Buck. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. Thanks for the invite.
Yep, no problem. And finally, so far we have us, the Tactical Pickle from California, Calaveras 32 Special. How are you tonight?
Doing all right. Appreciate the invite. That's going to be interesting to see what across the country sundown brings us. I know, from what I'm hearing, there's supposedly on social media people trying to organize looting of a Walmart about a mile and a half from my house.
Oh, that's always good.
Stay strapped or get clapped.
Right.
Yeah. Small town West Virginia. Anybody comes trying to start trouble here, they're going to be in for a world of hurt. Everywhere you looked in Walmart today, there was somebody carrying a firearm when we were over there. So, Squib, blame Night Strikes who you want to talk to. He had everything all screwed up. At least he finally got it situated where we can go over here because get more people in here. Oh, we are now joined by the New York Outcast, aka Rob. How are you tonight? You there, Rob? Uh-oh. Looks like Rob's internet connection was looted.
Damn, that was easy come, easy go, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's having.
it's the Glock hater. He can't figure out technology.
I'm not the biggest Glock fan either. I mean, they're all right for some people. They don't work for shit for me. So. But then I got wrist and elbow issues, which their grip angle it's not optimal for me because it just get holding the Glock. You got to do that little bit of a downward angle. After a while, my wrist gets sore from holding the Glock that way, and I just cannot shoot them that well.
I just naturally point with it, so it doesn't seem to have any problems. But
yeah, if I naturally point with a Glock, I'm shooting over the target. Whereas with like my HK and my Smith and Wessons, my natural point of aim is the point of aim with those pistols. They're much easier for me to shoot.
Hey, Rich, did you give Rob the secret password? It's I love Glocks. Then he can get in the chat.
Yeah, don't listen to him, Rob.
he has to say it 3 times. He has to say it 3 times before he can get in.
Yeah, it'd be nice if some more peoples would show up that were on the panel so we could get a good discussion going. I don't know if I should send Squib a link. What do you think? Should I send Squib a link? He knows a little bit about these Wild West guns.
I think he'd be a good addition.
Wasn't Squib on one of them? Like, not last week, but the week before?
No, he was on the one before. He was on the one the week before the bracket where we were where we first started talking about Wild West guns. I don't even remember what brought it up that week, but he was on the panel that week, and then that next week he was next 2 times he wasn't able to be on. You available to be on, Squib? If so, I'll send you a link. I know your wife's already mad at you. We know that from earlier.
See, New York, all you had to do was just say Glock 3 times. I love Glock 3 times, and you were able to jump in.
Nope, we lost his signal again.
And probably just New York blocking all that because they don't
Oh,
want, you know,
is that me? Looks like we lost Pickle too. Anybody else there? Or am I talking to myself?
No, I'm here.
Okay. I wanted to make sure it wasn't me. That I'm just like sitting here talking to myself because we're losing everybody. I want to make sure it wasn't my connection. Well, it might be partially my connection. It's saying it's got me in yellow, but now I'm back up to the green. Where's Kingpin? We're gonna need Kingpin.
Yeah.
I'm still here.
Hey, can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. You were. You did say your signal was lost earlier.
Okay. Yeah, I had to, figure I'd take G23's advice, and that's where, what, I needed to grab mine so I could start loading mags. So I'll keep my camera off so I don't get you dinged.
As long as you're not handling the firearm, if it's just on your side, stuff like that, it just says you cannot handle a firearm on live stream.
Yeah. Has anybody seen?
I'm currently loading magazines. What does that tell you about what I'm doing?
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. If you could be loading, you can be loading the mags. You cannot be loading and inserting the mag into the firearm with your camera on.
Yeah, serious question. Has anybody seen Kingpin since this started with him living in Baltimore?
Come to think of it, no.
Was he on? I didn't get to see Rick's show yesterday. Was he on there?
I think I've seen him on there, but that was during the day.
Yeah, I know. Because usually he's in here by now.
I don't even think he was in my comments yesterday.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing him, and so like, oh shit, I hope he's okay. Yeah, they're starting shit up in Cumberland, Maryland, which is just to the north of here. They're like half hour, 40 minutes away. That's where my wife works. Thankfully, she doesn't work tomorrow, and I told her if she can't get to work if they're blocking shit where she can't get to work on Tuesday, turn around and just come back home. If your boss doesn't like it, tough fucking shit. Like you're not putting your life on the line for that hospital. They don't pay you enough. And if they did, they still wouldn't pay you enough.
Yeah, if I see him standing out in the road at my work, I'll turn around and come on back.
Yeah, I don't think there's any job that pays you enough for that stuff. I mean, even halftime in being a frontline law enforcement, I don't know if those guys really get paid enough. Then again, that is what they're there to enforce law. They ain't there to protect us. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
So did you guys see the video of the semi truck that ran through a crowd of protesters?
No, I haven't seen that.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Do you know where it was at?
I think it was in Minnesota.
I saw the LA footage where the two cops went through a crowd. The one cop had somebody jump on the hood of his car, and he kept going. He just took off with the guy on the hood. The guy goes rolling up the hood. The other cop car stops to see if the guy's okay. They start swarming that cop car, and he took off.
Yeah, that's where, in one of those crowds, would you want to stop?
Nope.
So
I don't
yeah,
know why
the
you stopped
semi
before the
was
guy was okay in the first place. I would have just kept on rolling.
in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah, that's right. I know. Here, I guess it was 2 years ago now. That's where when I think it was the Trayvon Martin protest when they were shutting down streets. I know I came within about a hair's breadth of doing something similar because I know I was sitting at a stoplight leaving work one night when there was also one of those big groups of protests came off the side street right out in front of me. And that's where, so I shoved the clutch in, and was getting ready to put put it in gear. It's like, all right, if anyone starts coming in and actually starts makes contact with my car, it's full throttle. And I'm like, I ain't playing that game. But they all went the other way, so I was all right. But
There was another one of a black SUV where a guy jumped on the hood of it. He started going, and then like got the guy to fall off his SUV. And then it looks like he starts to roll again, and then he just turns his wheel and runs right into the guy who jumped on his rig, and then he takes off in the other direction. Yeah, there's people that aren't paying it. They're not giving a damn about it anymore.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, while you guys were talking, we've been joined first by Night Strike. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. I see you finally figured out if it works. Good.
Yeah, well, it wasn't. I entered Sneaky like 5 times trying to get to work earlier. It was not going.
Yeah. Well, it's working. I've been working on it all day, so maybe you pressed the button while I was still in the middle doing something.
Yeah, that's bigger because you went live right at. They said you went live right after that. I just had the backup just as a fallback in case something, But it's working, so I just closed that all out. So nobody's going to find that link anymore. But and then also we have Squid joining us. How you tonight?
Just wanted to give proof of life that I didn't die for being late to dinner tonight.
Yeah, I thought you were going to get murdered, man.
Yeah. Did you see the comment I posted right as you were leaving?
He was just messing with me.
Yeah. Did you see the comment I posted right before you left the show?
No, I wasn't watching a live chat at all.
Yeah, I said you've been married 3 times and you still get dinner dates wrong. When's wife number 4, Squeedy?
I said wife number 3 was going to be a mail order bride, and I didn't do it. So there's still some room for,
improvement.
I wouldn't say improvement, but opportunity or whatever. But the thing is, though, my wife and I, we're so old, nobody else wants us, so we're stuck with each other. So, at least she likes guns.
Oh yeah, you got a winner right there.
Yeah, that's always a plus.
Yes, but you keep trying to take all of my guns.
Yeah, my wife does that too. My wife swears that my 627 is her 627.
It's like they take your shirt, they take your dog, they take your car, and then they take your guns.
Yeah. The gun I was carrying today, my daughter thinks is hers.
Well, yeah, but with kids, you kind of have to. I've got 2 guns I want to get rid of. They're not bad guns. I just don't like them. But I got one kid that wants one and one kid that wants the other. So they're never getting sold. They'll eventually get them. It's what you do for your kids, right?
Yeah. My daughter claimed my HK USP the first time she shot it. She was bullseyeing a 8-inch steel gong with this thing at 25 yards. She absolutely loves this pistol.
Like love at first sight or love at first shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is
Love at first shot.
Yeah, this is a Gen 1 USP. This is very first model year production.
So is Faust in the crowd on the YouTube side?
I haven't seen him.
DM Faust?
Yeah, I don't see him out there now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't watched his last video. I need to watch that.
I need to watch
Pay
it.
attention.
It was Revolver
Pay
video,
attention.
right?
No, his take a friend to the range video that he just released today.
Okay. Then I guess I've had 2 videos I need to watch.
Well, pay attention to the take his buddy to the range video.
Yeah, I added that one to my watch next list.
So who's got the nuclear meltdown going on behind them?
That's probably some alarm from, some riot happening in somebody's backyard. Something about this riot thing. So normally I keep one loaded gun in the house at all times. It's not that I'm worried the kids are going to do something stupid or whatever. It's just I don't live in a bad neighborhood and I really just don't have a need. And the whole guns being empty, that's an old holdover from the military. Everybody thinks the military is walking around 24/7 with loaded guns everywhere. It's like, no, we don't. The thing is, loaded guns, walking around, safety's off, chambered, blah, blah, blah. You're asking for an accident because more than likely you're not going to use it. That doesn't mean that if that's the way you want to do it, that's your choice. Do what you want to do. But in my house, there's typically only one loaded gun. Well, once this COVID crap started, I went to 4 loaded guns. And a couple days ago, I was thinking, things have kind of tapered down and nothing's really going on. I'm not worried about nothing. Maybe I should just put these other ones back away where they were and all that other stuff. Then they started rioting, and I'm like, well, all right, I'm just going to leave them where they are and leave them loaded. We've got a town near us where they might riot, but I really doubt it. They're all just so high and so lazy. I just can't see them making the effort. And there's no stores downtown to loot, so maybe that's just it. The big cities around here, like Detroit, there's rioting in Detroit, but it's real small. It's because there's no stores to loot. Literally, no stores will set up shop in Detroit because of all the issues. So you got to go to the suburbs. So when the suburbs start looting, then I'll be a little bit more concerned. But for right now, I think I'll leave all the guns loaded and just at the ready.
Yeah, there's stuff starting up in Cumberland, and there's plenty of shops up there. But somebody commented that they're going to go to the suburbs from up there. So.
But look at it like this. If there's no big box stores to loot, will somebody have a major riot in that municipality?
I doubt it.
There's plenty of stores here to loot. I mean, we got gun shops people can loot, Walmart, and supermarket and other stuff. So if somebody wanted to come here to loot, there's places to loot. Whether they'd be very
If you notice,
here's a different story.
If you notice, they're not looting or rioting at Walmart. They're only doing like Target and some of the other smaller mom and pop places.
But what about what Calavera said?
Yeah, he said they're getting ready to go after the Walmart where he lives.
Well, that's where my fiance found a social media post that supposedly they're trying to organize a group to hit that place at actually right now they were saying 6:00 tonight.
I guess they should rethink the whole open carry policy, huh?
Yeah. Speaking of that,
well, I think they should. I'd love to see it go to constitutional carry for open and concealed. Just because the town where that Walmart is kind of on the edge of a blue collar community. I'm sure that blue collar community is probably pretty well set up. If they had, if they were suddenly allowed to open, I'm sure you'd see a whole lot of them pop up real quick.
I think Squid was talking about Walmart's policy on that, but it works for California too.
It should be constitutional carry across the country.
It should be, and we were going that direction, but then everybody got distracted by bump stocks, and it went away.
Speaking of Walmart's policy on firearms, I bought 2 pairs of tactical cargo shorts at Walmart. of all places.
What makes them tactical?
They have the waistband, which is adjustable so that you can actually fit a concealed carry handgun in there. That is one of the selling points that was on the tag on the shorts.
So it's a pouch built into the shorts instead of
No, it's
putting
not a pouch. It's a pair of shorts that's held up by a belt, but there's elastic in the waistband so that you can comfortably get your concealed carry pistol into your waistband without having to readjust your belt or anything.
I don't know. Does
That
count?
doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm not following, but okay.
Yeah, I'd have to show you, and I'm not standing up right now.
Sound like
Yeah, because-
maternity shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost. It's almost like that, but the elastic is on the side instead of the front. And you got plenty of pockets in them.
Wait, you've got pockets?
Yeah, pockets.
Oh my, pockets.
So are we done with the riot discussion for now? We can get on with our topic. If you guys are ready
What
for
is
that.
the topic? What is the topic?
We were going to talk about Western rifles. It was going to be part 2 of our Western firearms discussion. You
Squib is
sound
like,
excited.
that's just like when Rick hears about we're going to talk about sights and scopes.
Well, no, I'm just saying, it's not something that most of the people on the panel are.
Well, these are pretty much the ones that were somewhat knowledgeable the last time. These are it wasn't,
All right, because, it's my own fault. I listened to the last couple shows, and I'm listening, and, I don't know, I was crying blood, and I'm just like, it's my own fault because I got invites, and I didn't join, and I'm just like, well, I'll vote for this gun because it looks cool.
Yeah, right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Look, if you don't know, you don't know. And for some people, 19th century firearms are not an interest. It's not like, I got into guns and suddenly now I want to know every gun,
Well,
from an old, hand cannon throwing rocks to,
Yeah, I know.
a phased plasma rifle in a 40-watt range.
Yeah.
So I get it. Not everybody's, multifaceted with guns, but
And some of them,
so, yeah.
Whoa, Squib. Where can I get a phased plasma rifle?
about 20 years in the future.
Just what you see on the shelf, pal.
I knew he was going to say that.
In Kingpin's defense,
And it's not to say not to say I know everything about 19th century firearms either, but I appreciate the fact that you invited me both times, and it's just my own fault for not joining.
Yeah, I don't join every time either.
Yeah, some of the Kingpin, he's new to guns, so he doesn't know a whole lot about that, but he likes coming off
Yeah,
because
but
he
the
learned.
thing is, though, okay, guys like Kingpin and Gary and a couple others that are newer to guns have got up to speed pretty quick. I've seen some people, air quotes, new to guns that still only know the one gun they bought, and that's it. They're almost like cops. I know my sidearm, I know my shotgun, and I know my AR, and that's all I know. And it's like, how long you been on the force? 20 years. And you hand them a single action army and they don't know what a loading gate is, and you're there going, oh, are you kidding me? Right? And you might say, well, yeah, but they're never going to use a gun. It doesn't matter. What if they make an arrest and they don't know how to clear the fire? So I got to say that, Kingpin might say the whole, I'm new to guns thing, but watch how exponentially he's gotten up to speed. Same thing with Gizzard Gary.
Yep, they both want to learn. That's why. You get some people, they just want to go get a gun and they don't want to learn the history. Kingpin and Gary both want to learn the history and whatnot on it too. So, yeah, Rob, you didn't know anything about him either, but you were trying. You were wanting to learn. I mean, you were actually looking up the guns as we were voting on it. I'll give you credit for that. I mean, you were pulling up Wikipedia and whatever else you could find that had the guns we were talking about so that you could at least form somewhat of an opinion based on the way they worked and everything.
Okay, Rich, which ones do you have written down that you want us to go over?
I got a whole page full.
Okay. Go through some of the more popular ones.
Well, it depends on what you want to call popular because there were different ones for different uses. Like we could go with single shots, and there were popular ones there, and they were popular
Be
ones.
generic.
Be generic. All right.
Winchester 1894.
Yeah,
That was
you
the one
know,
that won the bracket.
you know, there's also technically this fits. There's also Winchester 1897. That's also a John Browning gun.
Yeah, but we weren't talking about those.
So,
It
You
was-
see where these guys go right to almost the edge of the 20th century?
Mhm.
you know what? We're going to go back a bit. We could talk about volcanics.
Okay,
we did that
good.
already.
I'm glad you went there.
Yeah, we already
Yeah,
did
All
that.
yeah.
that were made.
We could talk about Squib's favorite firearm, the revolving rifle,
Hey,
made by
remember,
Colt First.
you pick on the
When would
volcanic,
if I ever like a revolving rifle?
but you pick on the volcanic. But remember, if it wasn't for the volcanic, there wouldn't be the Winchester.
No, I know. That's why I brought the volcanic up.
Yeah, but really, it goes back way before the volcanic. The Henry repeating rifle is not. It's not one gun or two guns that were. There was patent traded after patent traded after
yeah,
patent traded. Modification after modification. Then a rimfire cartridge, and even then, after the 1860, the improved Henry was kind of the center fire leadoff for everything that followed afterward.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the actual lever action, the modern mass production available to the public, reliable lever action rifle goes back to the 1830s.
Mhm.
And a lot of failed business attempts and a lot of sold patents. And then Winchester himself, not a gun guy at all. Why he's in the firearms inventors playing card deck, I have no idea, because he didn't invent jack shit. He's a businessman. He had the money. He bought the patents.
Yeah, he was
That's
the money
all
guy.
he did. He bankrolled the shit.
Yep, he was purely the money guy on that. The main guys that built up Winchester repeating arms were Henry and later Browning. Without those two guys, Winchester repeating arms would have failed.
Mhm.
Well, there was the guy who took over after Benjamin Tyler Henry, which his last name was King, I believe. He was a factory manager, and he made some improvements. And Henry, Winchester was involved with Smith and Wesson. He bought the volcanic stuff off of him, as far as I know. He pretty much made a deal with BT Henry. So I'll pay you a royalty up to a certain amount, and then you're out. And in 1866, when Henry left the company, he had the red ass. He was pretty mad because, he wasn't a businessman. He was an inventor. He invented more than just guns, and he screwed himself because he signed a bad business deal.
How often have we seen that in history?
Winchester was kind of a tycoon on a small scale.
But how often have we seen that throughout history where somebody signs a bad business deal and it comes and bites them in the ass?
Well, I mean, Browning, he didn't always make some of the best business decisions. Sometimes he did, sometimes he did. He was an inventor. He liked to tinker. He liked to make stuff that worked. He liked to make money, but he wasn't all business and then guns. And you had other people in the industry that were business first, guns second. And we still see that today, right? Freedom Group.
Oh, yeah. Even in Hollywood, you see that. Like, look how ripped off the guys and gals that were on Gilligan's Island got. They had no royalties from a single episode of that show because they all signed bad business deals when they signed the contracts to do that show. History's full of bad business deals.
Yep.
Pickle, you were asking if
So-
the doors on there. Yeah, the trapdoor Springfield's on the list.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. The thing is, everybody says that the Winchester's the gun that won the West, but I don't know that that's actually historically accurate. How many people could afford a repeating rifle? And on top of that, some people wanted something with more range and more power. They wanted to drop a buffalo. They wanted to drop an elk. They had the wide open spaces where they were taking shots. The repeating rifles were typically shorter range rifles, smaller caliber, less powder, didn't have the range. but
Smaller
that,
cartridges.
You could, yeah.
Yeah, the most heavily produced. The most heavily
And then more
produced.
money, right? Mechanically, you're paying for all the R&D and all the pieces, whereas a single shot, if you had a flip open breech, you're doing good, right?
Right. Yeah. The most heavily produced of the repeating rifles was probably the 73 and then the 92.
Oh, you got
And
the
those
Menard
were
in there?
both- Those were both pistol caliber. They were.
And my understanding, a lot of those lever action, Winchesters and Henrys, the more common ones were chambered in, a pistol, as I understand. So it matched the same ammo as the more common revolvers. At least that was my understanding.
Yeah, the Henrys were originally in 44 Henry, then they were in 44 American, and then you had the 66 Winchester was in 44 American, and then you had the 73 come out, and that was in 44 40, also at the time was known as 44 Winchester centerfire, and then that was basically your pistol caliber, carbine caliber. You would have some that were in 45 Colt, not many. Most of them were in 44 40. When it came to like the 73, then there was one in the 1880s. I forget what year number that had, and then you had the 92, which when you watch a Western, just about every Winchester you're going to see in a Western is going to be a Winchester Model 92. We talked about this. Was it during the pistol episode or the one right before that when we did the bracket? If you watch Winchester 73, Jimmy Stewart wins a Winchester 73 1 of 1,000 using a Winchester 92, which wasn't made at that point in time.
But to most people, a lever action looks like a lever action. If I brought up my Henry Big Boy, somebody might go, that's an Old West gun. No, it's based on a 19th century lever action, but it is not at all the same thing. So for most people, they don't notice the difference. And that's the thing with Hollywood. It's just like when somebody dumps 20 rounds out of a 1911 in a movie and doesn't do a mag change. The average person doesn't know that. So that's how Hollywood's able to get away with that stuff. And
I
you
really
know what?
like one of those 1911s.
Well, when I'm watching a movie with somebody and I'm pointing out all the gun mistakes, people usually don't like me too much.
My wife gets like that with me with law enforcement shows. Like she'll be sitting down watching Law and Order. I'm like, nope, that's wrong.
Honestly,
Stop
I
pointing
think
out how she's wrong.
TV shows would be more entertaining if they did put more realism in there. They didn't try to solve it in 30 minutes or an hour. They could break it into 4 episodes, but try to put some more real to life stuff in there to make the characters more interesting, to make the situation more interesting. Some of the stuff is just like, you did this last season, you did this last episode, this was in another, you watch the medical drama. If you watch Grey's Anatomy, it's ER all over again, right? It's the same sort of thing. So when they put some real life stuff in there where something bizarre happens, but that's based on a real life event that most people go, really? That would be better. But it's just like if you had guns in movies jam more often, right? Or they always throw away their gun. Why do they throw away their guns in real life in a military situation? In the old West, these guns are expensive. They're worth a lot of money. And you'll see the guy toss this lever action rifle that I don't know what they cost back then, but most people didn't have money for them. He just tosses it. It's like, dude, at the very least, take it to the next town and pawn it. What the,
Yeah, it's like Bill Cosby had a joke about the Lone Ranger where he's getting on Silver. And he's like, "Hi," and Silver's like, "Get off my back!" And Silver goes on a rant about how the guys are always throwing their guns at him. Cut right off of old Silver's legs. Get the hell off my back. It was
You don't leave anything behind for somebody to use against you. You know, I was watching I can't it was, the remake of the Magnificent Seven. In the beginning of the movie, the guy is being held at gunpoint by two guys. One guy's got a handgun, one guy's got a lever action rifle, and he disarms him. He takes a lever action rifle and he pulls a lever enough times to empty the thing, and then he tosses it on the ground. And he walks away. And I'm going, dude, even if you don't want it, what are you doing? In real life, that just wouldn't happen. And I understand. I mean, these people get shot 15 times and walk away. In real life, that doesn't happen. They get hit with an explosive device, flown across a room, slammed into a wall, and they just shake it off. And in real life, that wouldn't happen. I understand that. But it would be kind of interesting if you would just see a little bit more rugged, kind of realistic, like, I need to pawn this rifle so I can buy my horse back kind of thing, you know?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that movies and stuff, and TV that's just ridiculous. I was watching, I think it was a Word on Westerns, and they were talking, the actor was talking about, he was doing a movie with John Wayne. I can't remember who the hell it was, but they had the little blood packets on him that explode, and he didn't have a shirt on underneath. He said that hurt like hell. But I forget what I was going to say now, because I was going somewhere with it, because he said something about something. I don't remember what the hell it was.
Probably about how incapacitating the pain is when you get shot or stabbed or burned or you fall off your horse or you fall off the cliff or you.
It was along those lines. It was like, it hurt like hell. Like, I forget how he said it, but he said it felt like somebody hit him with a mallet or something in that spot, and he woke up the next day and he had a really bad bruise, and it when it splattered, I remember what it was now. When it splattered, one of the pieces from it flew out of his shirt, the part that makes the hole in the shirt when they set those things off. And it flew and it hit somebody in the face, and it put one hell of a cut in the guy's face. I can't remember what movie that was he was talking about making. It wasn't a John Wayne movie that he was in where that happened. But first, the guy was talking about John Wayne, and he went off and talking about something else. Which one was it? Damn it. The Wild Bunch. They were making The Wild Bunch when that happened. Which, that was a bloody Western. That movie, a lot of people were shocked by that movie when that came out. How bloody it was for the era of movie making. But
I can compromise if I see him do mag changes, things like that. I mean, if you look at the John Wick movies, the way he had it set up in the one movie where he's in the tunnel and he sets everything up, and it's more or less a 3-gun competition, but they do it in movie. Okay, I mean, he was anticipating it, but that's really what they were doing. They were demonstrating what 3-gun is like, or just some of the other stuff where they actually use real terminology or real this or real that. I'll take some compromises because we want some entertainment, right? And you can't have entertainment unless you stretch the truth. Like when they say it's based on a real life thing, some of the characters or some of the things that happen are really boring. So they spruce it up a little to get you to identify with the character, but they still keep it true to life. It's when they change the ending where that never really happened, and now your opinion of this historical event is based on a false pretense, and it's like, that's not the way it really ended. That's maybe more annoying than some of the other stuff.
Yeah. So I know you didn't get a chance to vote on anything. If you were to pick one revolver from the Wild West, but it's got to be a cartridge revolver, what would you have picked?
Cartridge, huh? Wow, that limits me. I'd probably take a Richards Mason's conversion.
I was on a similar train of thought, but I went with the Remington factory conversion.
The reason being is I'd probably be a poor SOV, and if I was going to have a cartridge revolver, it'd probably be that because that would be cheaper. It's not that I thought cartridge revolvers were crap. I mean, I wouldn't mind having a Lightning. It's double action, but it's got that weak spring. So, yeah, more than likely I'd probably be in the same economic bracket I am now, and that's all I could afford. I'd be more concerned about my long gun because reality is, especially in a place where you can carry guns more places, you're going to use that long gun more. I understand, like, if you're just in town and you just go from saloon to brothel to saloon, carrying a long gun with you ain't going to fly. But if you're traveling from your farm to the town or your mine to the town and you're on your property a lot, having that long gun nearby is probably going to be more useful than a handgun.
Yeah, that was going to be the next question when we get to the handgun, the long gun. But my rationale, basically what you were saying, the reason why I went with the Remington, because that was an actual factory conversion. You weren't relying on how capable your gunsmith was to do the Mason Richards conversion. And they were more affordable than some of the other options at the time, which would have been the open top Colt or the Richards conversion. And Remington had plenty of surplus of the 1858s that hadn't been sold yet, so they just converted those from the factory as a cartridge gun. So probably
more than likely, I would have had a percussion revolver or 2 or 3 or 4. I would think that if I could get them surplus from somebody who wanted to sell theirs because they were going to buy a single action army or something else, or I brought one home from the war or something like that, I think I would rather have a few of those. And plus, they were still proven. Cartridges were still kind of a new thing, and it's just like anything else. People are kind of skeptical and they don't like change and whatnot. So as long as I had access to powder and I could probably melt my own lead, I'd more likely have percussion revolvers. So going with that conversion would just be all right, I've got the cartridge, but I didn't spend all my money. What little bit I had.
Yeah, the Remington was easy to convert back to cap and ball. All I had to do was they would dovetail the loading gate. You just had to slide that off and change your cylinder, and you were good to go at that point. You'd be right back to having it be a cap and ball pistol. Now we'll get to the long gun. Which long gun would you pick?
I'd probably go with Trapdoor in 4570 or Sharps in 4570 or 45110 if I could afford it. The Trapdoor would probably be more affordable, but if I could get a surplus Sharps, doubt it, or some sort of Battlefield pickup, I'd probably go with that. Now, that's not to say that I wouldn't want an 1860 Henry. I really would. And if I could get have a gunsmith convert it to 4440, that would be even more advantageous to me. But realistically, that single shot is going to be less expensive. And, as long as I know what I'm doing, I can lay down some fire. However, at the Battle of Little Bighorn, right? Rapid fire, rapid reload won the day, not firepower and range.
Yeah, it didn't help that Custer left all his artillery behind either, including his Gatling.
I still argue the Gatling guns could have helped turn the tide of that battle. Yeah, I know. I understand what you were saying the other day, Scrib. I understand. I still believe the Gatling guns could have made a difference. And I'll say it in this way so you'll agree with me. If they were strategically placed.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, if he had them like a reserve column behind, just a smaller detachment, and they were bringing them, and they could see from another hill what was going on, they could, at a distance, mow down one side of the hill enough that Custer and his forces could have, escaped. But if they were right there on top of the hill with them, maybe not.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you. But I still think it was wrong for him to leave those behind, and that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
oh, good,
on those Gatling guns, what kind of range do you think you get out of them?
well, they fired 45-70. Decent
Yeah.
range.
Yep. Remember, the barrels on those were pretty long too. Not ridiculously long, but they were at least rifle length.
Yeah, they were. They were rifle. They were carbine to rifle length, depending on which model Gatling gun you had. But they were in 45-70, so you got decent range and punch out of them.
Yeah, but I mean, once again, go back to Hollywood. Watching the remake of the Magnificent Seven, they had a Gatling gun mounted on top of a wagon, and they're up on the hill, and they're looking down on the town, and they put one mag in it, and they crank the handle, and they turn the town to Swiss cheese. And I'm going, that wouldn't really happen.
No,
that would.
Yes, it could
That
reach
wouldn't
that
happen.
far. Yes, it would. It would reach that far. It would hit that hard. But they had about 10 times the ammunition that was in one magazine cut through everything and everybody. It's not a modern Gatling gun where it's spitting out 20 to 40 rounds per second.
Yeah, you would need an A10.
There's a limit on that. Yeah, pretty much. They stopped and then they changed to the second magazine and they never got to shoot the second magazine. But they're in that box mag there were not 3,000 rounds. So
No, there wasn't. But you also have to remember that the Gatling gun had, most of the Gatling guns at that time, were about, they had about 6 to 10 barrels, depending on what variant it was. Okay, and I'm sorry, but 6 to 10 barrels with however much rounds of 45-70 you have running through that thing could be very deadly. So,
as long as you're changing out mags fast enough and you're using it effectively, sure. But it's going to go back to the main reason you have rapid fire. Not the only reason, but the main reason. It's more or less to keep people's heads down. A lot of people think full auto is for charging a position and killing everybody in sight. Most of the time, full auto is for keeping their heads down while you're flanking them or keeping their heads down while you're retreating. It's not to say that you can't use it in other ways, but primarily it is to distract your opponent so that you can evade, you can escape, or it's to distract your opponent while you're sending people around to come up from behind and kill them.
Yeah,
and if you can do anything else with it, good.
But Squib, when you're fighting people who use line battle tactics and people who are primitives, they don't think like that. They use primitive tactics. So against that kind of force, it doesn't matter if they have more men or you have more men. If they're using line battle tactics or if they're using primitive tactics against somebody who has got a Gatling gun, you're gonna mow them down.
I got news for you. The Dakota, aka the Sioux, weren't using very primitive tactics at the time. They were some of the finest horse cavalry that ever rode on a battlefield. Don't think they were extremely primitive when it came to battles. The reason why they were called the Sioux was not what they called themselves. Sioux was what the other tribes called them. In the Indian languages of the plains, it meant enemy. The Sioux were the most warlike of the Indian tribes in the American West. These were not primitive by any stretch of imagination when it came to their tactics.
I don't know. I always thought the Apaches were pretty hostile.
When you go over the top and you've got multiple Maxim machine guns shooting at you, and you're using those, everybody's on the line charging you're going to get cut to pieces. That's where you're using primitive tactics versus modern weapons. But in other circumstances, no, it's not quite effective. So there's a time and a place where it's not meant to keep the enemy's heads down, or it is a force multiplier. But in general, in modern use, full auto firepower is not as offensive as everybody thinks it is. It's in movies. I mean, just like in all these war movies, they're all shooting full auto all the time. It's like, no, that's not the way we did it. It's just not as effective, but it looks good.
Yeah, it looks good in movies, especially if you're using tracers. Um, yeah, one way to look at a machine gun is they were the original shock and awe psychological warfare weapon. That was what you used them for. Keep people's heads down. They hear the machine guns, they know to get down, and they're less likely to see where you're at if you're trying to do something. But, you know, that's not the Hollywood perception. Now, a tank mounted machine gun, on the other hand, if you got a squad of people rushing at a tank and they open up with their machine gun, you're in a world of trouble because that machine gun isn't troop mounted, and it's going to be a lot more accurate than your standard machine gunner carrying a light machine gun on a battlefield.
Oh, okay, but how many tanks do you know happened in the Old West?
War Wagon. Haven't you ever seen War Wagon? Jeez, Night Strike.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, were those common? I don't think so.
Armored cars? Yeah, there actually were a lot of banks, like Wells Fargo, that were using armored cars, and some of them were armed with guys in them with guns. And the War Wagon was actually based on a prototype that was proposed by Wells Fargo as an armored car with the Gatling gun mounted on it.
So
Wasn't Kirk Douglas in that movie?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
yeah, it was. So is John Wayne.
Yeah, John Wayne was in that too, and what else? There was other people. The one that played the kid on Star Trek that had the mental powers that was later written in Star Trek Next Generation, that he was a member of the Q Continuum. He was in that. I've never remembered the kid's name. Yeah, there's a few people in that. Forrest Tucker was in it. Am I right? Yeah, there's a few people. No, he wasn't in that one. That was Chisholm he was in. Bruce Cabot. That's who I'm picking up.
Yeah. So good movie though.
Mm-hmm.
So when do I get a turn?
Oh, yeah, you weren't here for the bracket?
No, I wasn't here for the bracket either. But
okay.
you gave Squib a turn, you know.
When do I get a turn? You were for the bracket. I couldn't remember. So, okay. Well, if you were to pick a cartridge firing revolver from the late 1800s, what would it be?
I'm gonna go specialized. So I'm gonna get some shit for this, but I would go with the Lamont because they did make cartridge conversions.
Yeah, but they were crap.
I know, but still, I'd still like to have a six shot revolver with a shotgun barrel.
No, you wouldn't. You know why?
9-shot. It's
Yeah.
a 9-shot with a shotgun.
Yeah, the Lamont was a 9-shot.
Yeah, you're right. It was a 9-shot.
You want to know what the only really good thing about a Lamont is? The grip. That's about it. It's actually got a real man's grip on it because it's big enough for a regular hand. I've noticed that these other revolvers, the grips are tiny. The Lamont's actually got one that if you've got normal sized hands, you can hold on to it.
Yeah. As far as the rifle, I'd want one of those Maynard carbines. You've seen those, right? Or carbine, however you did
the one that uses the tape.
Yeah. The Maynard.
Why would you want that?
Why not?
All right.
He had one too many cap pistols when he was a kid, and he just wants
I did.
that cardboard tape thing.
Yeah. And the best part is we're talking cartridge weapons, and he pulls out a cap gun. A cap gun with bite, mind you, but still a cap gun.
No, it was a 50 caliber carbine.
And you wouldn't be able to convert the shotgun barrel on a Lamont for a cartridge.
Actually, they did.
I don't know how they'd make it work.
I don't know how they would do it.
There's no room to, unless you unscrewed the barrel every time.
Yeah, you would literally have to take the gun apart to reload it.
They made cartridge conversions where basically instead of unscrewing the barrel, what it was is there was a lift gate you lift up to put the cartridge in.
Where?
How could you do that? It's the center axis.
Yeah. How?
Yeah.
If you look, Ian from Forgotten Weapons did a video on one of the old cartridge conversion in Lamont's, where basically there was a lift gate that you lifted up to put the shotgun shell in and close it.
Where was the lift gates? What I'm asking you, where did they put?
And how would you have any room for anything other than? I mean, you might as well just throw the shell at that point because there's no room in the barrel.
You know, one way they could see maybe they could have done it was as a brake top, kind of.
No, you don't. There's not enough.
Yeah,
there's
maybe not.
No.
Material.
There, let me see if I can get a picture of it so I can show you. But they did exist. Okay, it's just they made it, the cartridge versions look different than the standard cap and balls.
This is like the 357 SIG. Why? Okay. Do you know why there was a shotgun barrel on the LeMat? Do you know why?
Real quick, I just in the internal, I dropped a link to a photo. Supposedly, it's a LeMat conversion. A brake top. It's a brake. Opens like the Schofield.
Yeah, there was that one.
You know
That one was done for the
LeMat
movies.
Do you know why the LeMat had the shotgun barrel?
No idea. Why don't you educate me?
It's so you could run away. You fire the shotgun barrel as a last resort. When you run out of ammunition and you're still being overwhelmed, you fire the shotgun. They're scared crapless. They disperse, and you use that as the instance to get out of there. You do not fire the shotgun barrel. It is a last resort. It's do that or throw the gun at them. That's literally it. You've got a 9-shot revolver when everybody else has a 5 or 6-shot revolver. And if you're being outnumbered and overwhelmed, you use that shotgun barrel as a last resort.
Yeah, it and the one that Kyle posted, yeah, it's a brake top. The way I don't know if I'm going to screen share this because the way screen sharing was working last week. In other words,
let me screen share this. I don't know if you can see this, but you see how the gate lifts up to put the shotgun shell in there.
It almost looks like the cylinder swings out too a little bit.
Yeah, so let's see if I can. You see,
Yeah, that's
you lift the gate up.
One more thing to come loose when you shoot it.
Exactly. but I still wanted one. I still want one just because of how cool it looks. All right, I'm looking for the wow factor.
That loading arm on the side, it just every time you shoot it, you got to go. Did it fall loose? Every single damn time.
All right, let me screen share the one that Calaveras put up if I can, and we'll see.
But this is an actual original. So
yeah, well, here's one too.
It's not working for you.
That's not working. Shit.
Oh, there it is. It goes there. It's working. It's working. Stop.
Okay.
Stop. Don't touch anything.
Okay, now that looks like a more practical design.
Yeah, you take the
Yeah,
cylinder
I saw
out,
that
then
one.
you load
That
your
was done by a
shotgun, then
gunsmith
you
back in like the 50s.
Yeah, that looks more practical.
It does.
But still, I mean, you're talking about replacing a lot of parts there because you don't have a pin that you're pulling forward and you're not unscrewing the barrel. You got it on a pivot. I mean, it looks like it still, fit and function. It does the job. But, yeah, you're replacing a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, and that end where
I
that
think I would rather
screw is
have
to where
that than
it pivots. It needs to be a bit larger because that can't hold the weight of that gun right there.
Once again, I'm going to go back to the grip. The grip is actually normal sized. I know people were smaller in the 19th century, but I mean, Yeah, it just even the grip on my walker, I'm going, really? You got this big gun and this little midget grip. Yeah, I don't say that about the Lamat.
Mhm. Before we go talk about anything else, everybody else was here for the bracket, right?
No, but we're fine. Go ahead. You can skip me.
Well, we can talk about the rifles some other time. I mean, we can do that next week or something if you guys just want to talk about the guns themselves and not in general. I mean, I have no problem with that because we're having a good conversation on it. So if you weren't here, Pickle, what would be your two choices?
I have a hard time saying I know enough about, especially the revolvers to really pick one. I'd have to just go with the single action army. It's not the cheapest, but it's the one I know, a little bit more about. And for long gun would probably be a trapdoor Springfield.
Neither one of those are too terribly bad. I was never a fan of the single action Colt myself, but there are guns that I think were better. I mean, if it didn't come down to a money thing with going with the Remington conversion, I actually would go with the Smith and Wesson number 3. Now, which version of the number 3? That would be a hard choice because the Russian was a great revolver. The Schofield was a good revolver. The downfall of the Schofield was the cartridge it fired. But there were guys that, I mean, they later were making those in 45 Colt. So, I mean, you could get the Schofield in a real Schofield. Not the 45 Schofield was bad. 45 Schofield.
Yeah.
45 Schofield was the equivalent.
45 Schofield was good.
45 ACT. Yeah. The problem was they didn't fit in the 45. But the 45 Colt could fire those, but the Schofield can fire 45 Colt. That was the downfall.
Yeah, they had to convert them.
Came to them. Well, you couldn't really do that because the cylinder was too small. They had to be the 45 Colt Schofields had to be done at factory with a whole new frame and cylinder. So, I mean that was what the problem with the Schofield was. It was the cartridge it fired, and the fact that it was I should say chambered in, not necessarily fired. The cartridge was chambered in when they first put them out there. But it was a good revolver. People liked it, and the cavalry found it great. The ones that got the proper ammo for it. That was, but when you have Schofield, you have a unit that's equipped with Schofields, and you get ammo for a single action army, you got a problem. Whereas with the single action army, that wasn't an issue. If they got the 45 Schofield, they could fire them in their single action army. But the Schofield was faster to reload, and you could do it on horseback with one hand. You would hold the gun in your reins in one hand and reload with the other. Couldn't do that with a Colt as easily. So I never got why Smith and Wesson decided they had to come up with their own cartridge for that. Why didn't they do like everybody else was doing with 4440 and call it 4540? The whole thing, from what the rumor mill has to say anyways, that they didn't want to get in trouble with Colt for using their cartridge. Call it 4540. Everybody was using 44 Winchester centerfire. They just called it 4440, right? Or the reason why 3030 is 3030 is for the same reason, because nobody wanted to put Winchester on their rifles, because 3030 is actually 30 Winchester centerfire. Wow, that killed the chat.
Nobody wants to talk.
Hello?
Because how many people have experience with 45 Schofield? Okay, come on, move on.
What was that about? You're gonna be down here until I get back, right?
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Please stay on
Yeah,
the line.
no, we're experiencing my wife wanting to run her mouth before she goes out the door. And again,
You signed up
she
for
was going
that.
out the
That's all
door,
I'm
or
gonna
else I
say.
wouldn't I thought for sure Squib would have something to say about the 45 Schofield versus 45 Colt. I guess not.
I don't think they interest Squib that much. And the fact that he's
Maybe
quiet
he
means
fell
he's probably
asleep.
doing something. So
No, he fell asleep. We put him to sleep. Yeah, but anyway, ballistically, 45 Schofield, for those that don't know, was very comparable to 45 ACP. So, no, we've been joined by Gary, by the way. User Gary popped in while we were discussing all
Who?
that. How are you tonight, Gary?
Never heard of him.
You.
No.
You never heard of you?
Who the heck is
Okay.
Gizzard Gary? What kind of name is
mirror.
that?
well,
I don't
Squawk
know.
on the
You-
street says he's
you were given that name
the
by
bird.
The
He
bird
is the
with
bird
the
of
word?
the hour. The
Yeah.
bird with the word. Word is the bird.
So-
God, I don't even remember who gave you that.
I just
Who the hell started that? Was
Midnight
that
Rain
Midnight that
started
that?
it. Yep, it's his fault,
Okay.
like most things are.
Yeah, I just called you a Glock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just kept calling you a Glock. I was like, how the hell did you get out of Yankees safe? Oh, man.
Oh, so what's going on?
Not much. We were just talking about guns of the Old West.
The riot's all over? We're not talking about that.
Oh, we talked about that a little bit earlier. There's only so much riot talk you can do in one day before it's like, I want to talk about something else. You know?
Agreed.
We talked about that a little bit on your show this morning, and then Budget did his show before I went live and was talking about it on his show.
Yeah, it pretty much was the last hour of my show, which is good because it was kind of dying. There was nothing to talk about, and all of a sudden we got on that, and man, he heated up pretty quick.
I missed the last hour.
The Night Strike come in and kind of lit the fuse a little bit. As Night Strike tends to do, he lit the fuse and watched it burn.
Well, we got some space talk too.
Yeah, which I went back and watched part of that after my show was over. I went and watched some of that NASA video of the docking and everything. That was pretty cool.
That's why I mentioned it this morning. I was thoroughly enjoying watching the SpaceX and NASA stuff today. So,
yep, reminds me.
It's good to watch.
Reminds me of my youth when I used to watch that in really grainy standard def TV back in the day.
When it was all pre-recorded
Yeah.
instead of live.
Pretty much.
That was still on a black and white TV, right?
Well, up until I was 9 years old, that's all we had in the house. Finally, my dad, when he remodeled the house, he bought some new furniture and stuff. We did have a color TV after that, but we didn't have cable yet, so it still came in kind of crappy till about 72.
Yeah. Yeah, we started getting this shenanigans going on 40 minutes north of here, Cumberland, earlier today. We were talking about that. We were talking about that this morning, weren't we? About how nothing was going on around here. Well, that's changed.
Shenanigans, you say? Okay.
Yeah. I'm being nice. You don't want me to call him what I really think of him. And you know I will, too.
Oh, geez.
I mean, if you do that, I'm leaving.
Don't get me started. Yes, we'll be on an hour-long
I'm
rant.
watching this video that Snob sent of this four-wheel drive pickup carrying a stock trailer and drove right through a crowd of protesters on the interstate in Tulsa.
Yeah, G23, when he was paying attention, brought up something about a truck drove through something.
Well,
If they were rioters, they deserved it. If they're protesters, well, they didn't really deserve that. But you shouldn't obstruct traffic.
They were throwing stuff
It
up
was-
against the side of his pickup, like bottles and stuff like that. So,
Okay, they deserved it.
yep.
It was a semi truck in Minneapolis, Minnesota that I was talking about earlier.
Okay, so this is a different one. All right.
Yeah, I didn't say it was the same thing. I just said you were talking about earlier about
Yeah,
somebody that
people
did that.
people get tired of this after a while. It's like, I got a big truck and you guys better move.
18 wheels and
Yeah, those trucks.
18 wheels and probably 50,000 pounds minimum. It might move a couple people.
Just mine.
I got 18 wheels and no brakes. My damn way. Well, Stacy showed up out there, so I guess her and Snob are all right. Still haven't seen Kingpin. That's the one that got me worried because I haven't seen him today. Him being down there in Baltimore area. And the cat starts.
Well, the cat wants to be part of the conversation too.
No, I think he's looking for my wife.
I can't blame.
Well, you should have seen both the cats when the kittens went away. You should have seen both of the cats when the kittens went away. They were going nuts for like 3 days.
Did you get rid of all your stray cats?
They weren't strays, but yeah, they got new homes. The little kitty cats got new homes.
Do you need any more?
But,
I had plenty.
do I need any more? No. My wife did that at the old place. She was running her own personal cat rescue.
I only rescued one cat. Now it's gone. Sigh.
Get a Siamese.
Nah. I like my Russian blue.
Siamese aren't bad. They just like to talk a lot.
No, but my Russian blue like to talk, so I was happy with him like that.
Yeah, and they'll tell you off. And Siamese will tell you off. If it doesn't have food, it'll get up in your face and meow right in your face.
I know.
Then you get that cat breath right in your face, like, oh man, go brush your teeth, you dumb cat.
It's not his fault.
Well, we got the teeth cleaning cat treats. They love
Scrib's
those.
got to go.
We've got to go. Okay.
Yep.
Later,
he says
Squib.
leave.
You anything you want to plug real before you have to go, Squib? If you're unmute and say anything?
No, just thanks for the invite. Couldn't stay for a whole show, but appreciate the invite.
Yep, no problem. Oh shit! Were you here for the bracket, Gary? When we did the
No, I
Okay.
went in, took a nap.
I
I,
know
just
you're-
woke up a few minutes ago.
No, I mean not today. I'm talking about when we did the Old West. Gun
Part
bracket.
of it,
Were you here for that?
part of it, not all of it.
Okay. I was wondering if I need to ask you to pick one revolver and one long gun question, or if you had already got your choices. Because, to be honest, that was almost a month ago now. I forget who the hell was here. With everything that's been going on, I completely forget who was here for that bracket. I could have swore Pickle was here, but he said he wasn't.
It was New York Outcast, Buck, Mystic Guns, Kingpin, myself, and you. I believe that's the only ones that were here for it.
Yeah, because Kingpin had to do the screen sharing.
Well, that wasn't during the bracket. That was during the discussion of the pistols. That was our pistol discussion where Kingpin was doing the screen sharing.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago. This was 3 weeks ago that we did the bracket.
Yeah. Well, since you didn't get to do the whole bracket, Gary, I'll give you two choices. Yeah. What would you pick for a revolver? And remember, it's cartridge fire. And what would you pick for a long gun? And remember, unlike Night Strike, it's cartridge fire, not cap guns.
I have no idea. I'm not an Old West guy. I don't know what all was out there. I got to be honest with you.
Okay. Oh,
I would just be talking out my yin yang. Don't know. Be the first one to admit I don't know nothing about it.
okay.
And it's all
That's fine. Being honest. I mean, I can't fault you for being honest.
God's
right?
honest truth.
Links are sent. Links
Yep.
are sent.
Links are sent. Just got mine. Yeah, that's
Wow,
early.
at 10 o'clock? All right. I guess we can start with our goodbyes then. So since you were the last one in here, Gary, and you get to talk much, I'll let you go first with your farewells. Anything you want to plug? Any words of wisdom? Anything along
Well,
those
give them the bird, obviously. Thanks for everybody who was in the early bird chat this morning. We had a good time. If you didn't make it, try to make it one of these times. We'd love to have you. Foul Territory Friday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. And that's good enough for me. Thanks for watching my stuff, and thanks for the invite.
Yep, no problem. And Night Strike, what about you?
Plugs?
Yes.
Just check out store.guntube.org. Check out it's GunTube's merchandise store where we have stuff to sell to keep what Unloaded Media is using online, because I really have a lot of merchandise to sell and I don't have enough sales. So help me out so I can keep paying the bills so he can keep doing this. That's all I got.
Yep, do that, folks. Yeah, do that. Go out, because otherwise we won't have this nice software we're using to do these shows. We'd all be on the duck, and we know we don't get big panel. I couldn't have had but my panel on the duck that I had tonight. Wouldn't have been enough room.
No, there wouldn't have been. And it's not the software that is expensive anymore. It's the servers. The servers are expensive.
Yeah. Well, the chamber uses the servers. I mean, anyway. Pickle, what about you?
No real plugs to give, but I appreciate the invite. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Buck?
Well, I don't have no plugs neither, but thanks for the invite. And I'm still trying to get
no
used to it, so
problem.
bear with me.
It's quick to learn. Get a few under your belt and you'll be good. What about you,
Yeah.
G23?
Thanks for the invite again. I do a live stream on Saturday evenings. I might be doing a couple special live streams later in the evening. Trying to work on getting a couple of guests on that are on the East Coast, so that might mean that I have to do a later show. So that and summer coming up, more and more people are going to be out and about at, like 6 o'clock on the East Coast. So I may be looking at moving mine to a different time zone.
Alrighty. And I'm going to throw out some for you guys to go check out here in a second. I got to look it up. It's not showing up. There we go. I'm going to put out a link for a channel out there in the YouTube chats for people to go and check out. It's a young man by the name of Steven Sheets. Some of you may have known I was on his show on Thursday night. He's a developmentally challenged young man who's trying to do his own live streams, and he's got a channel out there where he sings songs and stuff, and he's got a real good singing voice. And go check him out. Give the young man some support. He's out there trying. Like I said, he's developmentally challenged, but he's putting his face out there. He's trying to do something, and you got to applaud him for trying with his difficulties that he has and stuff. So go out there and give him some support.
So if I get the police done tomorrow, when are you going to set the contest straight?
I don't know. Sorry about that. My wife
Sorry. Night.
She picks the wrong time to decide she wants to tell me something. So she's going to give me 5 seconds to get through with my plug.
Hey, I'm just waiting for her to join the live stream. It'd be a lot easier.
That's never going to happen.
It'd be a lot easier than her talking over the top of you.
Yeah, but
That's dangerous.
That's never going to happen.
Don't
That's
comment
like
on that.
snob jumping in here.
That's like having trying to run a show and have a conversation with Rich Wright, and then all of his daughters are there and chiming in when we're trying to have an adult conversation.
Yeah,
Your daughters ever getting us?
Oh yes, they have.
Oh, they're just asking me. I'm going to bed. So
Brittany especially. She was in the room.
I'll never go on there. Hell no.
See, she just said that.
Tell her too late.
Anyway.
I'm in too much trouble.
Anyway, go check out Steven Sheets, guys. Give that young man some support. He's working hard to try and get his thing going. And like I said, if he goes on there and he sings songs on his live stream, and he's got a really good singing voice. So check him out. By the way, he loves country music. So if you like country music, go check out his channel.
He knows what the get up is too.
I mean, he's a big fan of the movie Tombstone, which you watch his streams, you'll find that out real fast. But yeah, I had fun on the show, so go check him out. Give him some support. Like I said, subscribe to his channel. Check out his stuff.
Matter of fact, I was listening to one of his live shows today when I was at work, keeping me busy.
Cool. Yeah, he's got a good singing voice, doesn't he, Buck?
Yeah, pretty decent. Better than I can do it.
you should see you should go back and watch the show from Thursday. The two of us did a duet of "The Devil Went Down to Georgia,"
Yeah, I seen part of that.
and yeah, he was all smiles. He was. Pat Hirsch said, "I made that young man's day." So anyway, if you haven't seen that, go back and watch that Thursday live stream and check it out. Yeah, don't feel bad, Seven. My wife can only deal with him in short batches. So I mean, it's not for everybody, but he's trying. So show him some. If you don't watch the whole show that he does, that's fine. Watch a piece of it. Let him know you're out there watching. Just show him some support. I mean, there ain't very many developmentally challenged people out there trying to do this thing that we do. So, show him some support. He's out there doing his thing, and he's willing to put himself out there. So anyway, on that note, we will say goodnight, and we will see you hopefully next week if the country isn't all burning by that point. So, good night, folks. This is where you get your taglines in, guys.
Shall not set fires. Wait, no, that's not right. Shall not be infringed.
Glad
There
I
you
turned
go.
my headphones down.
Shall not set things on fire.
Bye bye. Shall not be a poo-poo head.
Shall not
That's okay,
incite
Seven.
violence.
I mean, where's that damn?
Still alive?
God damn it! That's wrong tab. Yeah, I've had YouTube on the wrong tab this time. Usually, I have YouTube on my pin tab with the studio. This time, I have it on a different because everything got all screwed up because of the chamber getting screwed up. I got everything all backwards.
I was working on it earlier, so you might